Alright, I'm Stefan Winterboer and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon. You caught us literally as we were broadsiding into the Cheetah Plains access road. We're running out of a bit of time here today getting down to where we're going. We have indeed come back to Cheetah Plains, and you may be already guessing why. We have an entire Styx Pride and Cubs and male lion that is busy lying up, hopefully in the same place as we left them this morning, which is at a dam called Djuma Dam, incidentally. I'm just going to pass these people quickly. Hello. Wait. Sorry, there's just a bit of a contraption that is passing her. You're okay, you can go. Sorry about that. We have a contraption that is busy trying to pass us. I don't quite know what that is in. Since 1999, I've never seen a caravan in the Sabi Sands. It's a first one of those animals I've ever seen. The things that you see out here, I must be honest with you. All right, so back to the plan. Hopefully, we have the Styx Pride that are still lying up in the same place they were just there. And we're going to go see what they're up to. We're going to see if they are completely unconscious. If so, we'll stay with them for a bit. And then we'll go around Cheetah Plains a little bit and see what else is here. If they're not, if they're active, we'll stay as long as we can. It is going to be a busy sighting. Of course, Cheetah Plains has got lots of traffic through it and in it. And so I'm expecting at some point for the radio to... Oh, talking about the radio, I need to change channels. Yes. One of those things that happen out here. So it will get busy at a bit, and then we're going to have to make space for someone else. Then we'll move out and we'll see what's around. That's basically my plan. I try and not do things too complicated out here, generally because nothing ever happens to plan out here. And secondly, it just sort of opens up the book for everything else. Don't forget, you can ask us questions if this is the first time you're watching the show, through email on questions@wildearth.tv. And if you want to use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, it is another very good way of getting your comments and your questions through to us. And if you haven't been introduced, or if we haven't met before, so to say, I am Steph, and on camera today is VM. And we have Lou and Kirsty out in final control, making sure that everything happens. And then Brent and Brian on the other car today. And they are still celebrating their B-Day. And I'm sure Brent has got a whole bunch of things in his sleeve. He's had an entire day to cook up a whole bunch of things in his mind, and that should be making you worried. Right now, talking about and off you go. I'm sure he wants to say hello to you.
Number 33, and definitely not a common sight on Djuma. There is a lone female ostrich. How incredibly crazy that is. It must have come out for Killer Bee Day, Brian. Now, normally we travel far and wide down to Cheetah Plains to see the ostrich, but today they've come to us. My name is Brent, and I have, of course, Brian Joubert, and there is the Killer Bee Thumb wearing a bow tie. Thank you to Kirsten as well. She made us Killer Bee bow ties. Brian's also got one. There we go. You can swing around to Brian. Brian's also got a Killer Bee bow tie. But we do really appreciate them. But oh no, I'm stuck in my bow tie. But I'm going to take it off because it flaps around. We will put it back on again later. And I think my mic, all you'll hear is crunching paper. Brian, I might need a hand here. Kirsten has tied me in. Actually, I might have to cut that. Or maybe I can go over my head.
Have you lucky?
Oh, there we go. Oh, now it's caught on the earpiece. Okay, let's catch up with that ostrich before it disappears. So this is the first time I've ever seen an ostrich on Djuma. Brian, it's your? Second time. Okay, so I didn't want to get too close initially. Sometimes the ostriches can be quite skittish, especially if she's by herself. And when I worked in the southern Sabi Sands, I saw... Yeah, there she goes. And you might have heard Adam on the back. Adam is here on interview, and he'll be taking tomorrow morning's drive with me. And she disappears back towards quarantine. So she's a bit stressed. Maybe we'll catch up with her again a little later. So we're going to head down towards Arathusa, maybe head towards Red Dam, maybe pick up some water birds there, to see if we can get to that magical number 50. So we're on 33 bird species so far from the sunrise safari. So we're going to try get to magic 50 soon. Okay. Well, shame about the ostrich being a bit skittish. So as I was saying, when I worked in the southern Sabi Sands, we hadn't seen ostrich ever, and then suddenly a single female arrived, and she was there for about a week. And for that week, she spent her days avoiding the mapaho, which was a coalition of 5 male lions that were trying to eat her. Now, there's something we don't see too often, so let's show you quickly. I know a lot of you like these things. Okay. Well, definitely the first time I've shown these tracks on Djuma. They are quite funny looking, but there we go. Here's the ostrich. You can see 1, 2, 3 toes. Look at that big claw. Now, they have an incredible ability to defend themselves with those claws, and I've actually seen massive injuries done to people, strange enough, by ostriches. A guy I know needed about 78 stitches. That ostrich claw ripped him from here almost all the way down to his knee. So they are able to defend themselves quite well, but they generally rely on their speed to get away from predators. Not very clever, though, I'm afraid. So a lot of the predators really like them. I've actually never seen a leopard on an ostrich kill. I have on baby ostriches in Botswana. But normally, when in Zululand, we had a coalition of male cheetah that literally wiped out all the ostriches on Penda. They loved ostrich. Every time we found them, they were eating an ostrich. Okay, so this time of the day is going to be quite difficult to get birds, so that's why we're going to head towards the water. Hopefully we'll have a bit more luck there. Now, Herbie is out checking down on the southern boundary. We had those monkey alarm calls down there on the sunrise safari, and fingers crossed that Karula was heading back north. Okay, so remember, we are on a live African safari. Send me questions through to the email address questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Now, another thing that might be around the waterhole we're heading to, nice hot day. It might attract some of the bigger elephant herds in the area. So we're going to start steaming towards there and still keeping our eye open for anything that might be alive on this hot, sunny winter's afternoon. In the meantime, let's go see how Uncle Steph's doing.
All right, we have just arrived at Djuma Dam, and I can say that the lions are not in exactly the same spot that I left them this morning, but that's because the shade has moved. I'm not expecting lions that are this big, full of buffalo, to move very, very far unless they're chased away from a place. And it could be for a variety of reasons. Elephant is usually the cause of it. But let's sneak up. They were behind that tree there. So I would imagine that they will be somewhere here in the shade. So we're just going to keep our eyes peeled. Lions lying flat are actually quite difficult to see. No, they're still there. There we go. Have a look at that. So we have got lions for you. And we are going to try and get down there to go and show you them. Right. Let's go. Put the car into all the obligatory safety modes, you know, four-wheel drive and diff lock and all the rest. Strap in the seat belts, disengage the airbags, ask all the hostesses to fasten their seat belts. There we go. And then do it with no hands, because that's what my mom would stress about. Nothing wrong with it. I hope it hasn't expired. No, he hasn't died just yet. Alright. Do that. Alright, here's the whole Styx Pride and one Birmingham male, their male. Their male is obviously an oversimplification. There are four males now. You know what? These lions are not going to go anywhere right now. We've got something so spectacular to show you. You're off to James, as funny as that sounds. Enjoy this.
You won't believe it, everybody, but I'm addressing you from the middle of East Africa, here in the Mara Triangle, a quite astonishingly beautiful piece of ground, 510 square kilometers, 350 square miles of utterly magnificent Africa, and I'm going to show you. Firstly, I must introduce the team though. Mr. Graham Wallington on camera today, and in the background, tied in by thousands and thousands of different wires and aerials and various other things, is Peter Bratt. Now, come and have a look here. Come on, Graham. Now, we're just going to put the camera on a tripod. It's going to get a little bit bumpy. There we are. And now, what you are doing, where you are looking, is straight across the Mara River, everybody, into the Mara National Park. We're in the Mara Triangle, and that is a very small portion of 1.5 million wildebeest that come into this area on a yearly basis, arriving in late July and departing somewhere around October, heading down back south into Tanzania. And it is across this very river that we're looking, the Great Mara River, that those iconic pictures and films have been taken of these great herds of wildebeest migrating to and fro across the river. Now, they don't all make it, of course, as Graham is about to show you. One of them has unfortunately met its end. It's over there. No, that's a crocodile, yes. There we are, well done. That one there is a wildebeest that is not in fact swimming, it has in fact died. And it will shortly be eaten, I've no doubt, by that very large reptilian. That crocodile is probably 10 feet long. It's absolutely enormous. And it probably only needs to eat once every 2 years or so. Hello, Jen Ward. You say this is fantastic. This is absolutely unbelievable. I am so amazed that we're able to be here. It is very, very special indeed. There we are. We're just zooming there onto that enormous crocodile. Now, James Cole, you ask a very valid question as we pan across to some hippopotami, a pod thereof, sitting here in this incredible river. You say you wonder if Gnorman the gnu is here from Cheetah Plains. He is not, believe it or not, and that is because he is a different subspecies of the blue wildebeest, the one that we've been looking at there, that small herd of the greater population of 1.5 million, they are called the brindled gnu. And although they are the same species, the difference is that they have got a very white beard, whereas Norman, the no-mates gnu of Cheetah Plains, has got a black beard. And that's how you know the difference. Obviously the zebra are there. They are the same kind of zebra. They're Birchall zebra. And then we've got one other quite special animal here that we don't see any of in the Kruger Park or anywhere near those environs, and it's called a Thompson's gazelle. And it is quite similar to, well, there are a few across there. We're just going to see if we can find one for you. You got them? They're very similar to our national animal, well, the South African national animal. Look at him, there he is. He's a magnificent fellow. And he is similar, like I say, to a springbok, which is our national animal. Also doesn't occur in the Kruger National Park, but they occur in great numbers here. So let me just give you some of the scale of what's going on here. We have got a situation where there are 1.5 million wildebeest, plus minus, 300 or so thousand Birchall zebra, about 200,000 of those Thompson's gazelles, and most of them right now as we speak are on a piece of land that is smaller than the Sabi Sands. Now I think that's absolutely incredible. Sabi Sands about 600 square kilometers, this area 510 square kilometers. They do obviously spread a long way then across the river where these ones are into the Mara, and the entire area, the whole Mara Serengeti ecosystem, is about 20,000, am I correct there? Yes, 20,000 square kilometers, which is just slightly smaller than the Kruger National Park. So just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. And Christine, you say, is this live? Well, I'm talking to you, Christine. It is as live as you and I, and it's wonderful to have you with us. We have not recorded anything today. Well, we recorded a few things for some B-roll. We had an amazing experience just probably about, what about 12 o'clock your time. We watched some wildebeests swimming across the river. We wondered if they would be devoured by the death in the deep, these enormous crocodiles, but they were not. And we watched them for about half an hour. Two big herds of wildebeest crossing the river in a different place from here. And we came here because we rather hoped this herd would come across at some stage during the afternoon. They might do that, but at the moment they haven't. Oh, there's a marabou stork.
No chance.
No chance. It's coming down. There, you'll get it. No, not yet. There, you might get it now. Hello, Aqua. I'm afraid I missed your question. I'm going to ask for it again. Oh, are we in a covered vehicle? Aqua, we are in a covered vehicle. We have to be. That's the law in these parts. And you don't tangle with the law, as you know, Aqua. And you say, what's the temperature? I'd put it at a fairly pleasant 28 degrees Celsius or so, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the temperature here. Of course, we're not far from the equator. We're just south of it, which means there really is hardly a season in this area. We're quite high up, which also means that the temperature's pretty, I mean, it gets hot, but it doesn't get blistering, I don't think, too often. Look at that river. Isn't that amazing? Hello, Gracie. It's very nice to hear from you. I'm all the way in East Africa, in Kenya, a beautiful, beautiful country. And you say, how fun is this? It is such fun, isn't it? And we're looking at hippos, your favorite animal. We're looking at crocodiles. We're looking at dead wildebeest, but mostly we're looking at an incredible abundance of life, the likes of which I have never seen before. I've never been here before, everybody, and I'm just utterly astounded. We've been driving around this reserve since early this morning, and there has not been one stage where we have not been seeing animals or vistas as far as the eye can see. And where Graham's pointing now, if he just pans slightly upwards, what you'll see is an escarpment there on the Rift Valley. And that is miles and miles away, and between here and there are these unbelievable clearings. Just incredible spaces with masses and masses of the most fertile grasslands you can imagine that support this unbelievable abundance of animals. It really is a true privilege and honor to be here, A, and B, what a joy to bring it all to you during the course of our standard issue safari. Isn't that amazing? And Safari Haze, you say, can anyone just drive through here? Yes, they can actually, believe it or not. Anyone can drive through here. Sometimes you can have a guide, sometimes if you've got the right kind of car, you can bring it in here, and that's no problem. But a lot of the places here run a little bit like the ones in South Africa do, where there are lodges in various pretty places, and then you've got guides, and you drive down with the guide. But you can come in here entirely on your own. There are wonderful campsites here. So it really does allow quite a lot of freedom. We don't really drive off-road here much, but sometimes you can get permission to do that. Now, kitty, kitty, bang, bang. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the drought in South Africa, and you want to know if there's a drought here. Well, we were chatting to the warden today, a man of some 20 years experience in this area, and he says this is a dry year. Probably the driest for the last few seasons, but I don't think they're in anything like the drought that we are there back at Djuma. So yes, the river's probably slightly lower, but no, there's no real trouble as far as the lack of water goes. There are just hectares and acres and acres and acres of this amazing grassland that is abundant with life. Animals are able to eat at will. We've seen hyenas today, we've seen serval today, we've seen buffalo, and giraffe, and elephant, Thompson's gazelles, and Birchall's zebras, and these wonderful brindled gnu, hippos, we even saw elephants, believe it or not. So it really has been an amazingly abundant time for us. Hello, Aaron in New Zealand. You hope we see some new birds? Well, Peter Bart and I have been fascinatedly staring out of the window trying to find a few new birds. The highlight probably being something called a purple grenadier, believe it or not, which I'm not going to try and show you because I don't have a book here. I've got an app, but I think it'll reflect the sun. Now, we're not able to actually move while we're filming because that will result in everybody watching getting seasick. So we will just pan from side to side until you get tired of looking at this particular view, and then we might go and see what else we can find. I'd like to show you some topi. They're an antelope we don't get up there. We do get some sesame sometimes in the Kruger, and they're a similar species. I'd like to show you a bit more of the Thompson's gazelles. We might go back to a hyena den that we found a little bit earlier on, and perhaps a Maasai giraffe. We talk so often on the show there about the different kinds of giraffe that we get. There's 7 or 9, depending on who you listen to, subspecies of the giraffe. Well, there's a totally different subspecies up here called the Maasai giraffe, and that's just brilliant. We'll try and find you one of those too. Ooh. Just quickly, there's a... Oh, you're not going to be able to do that. No, never mind, everybody. Let me just going to pan around everybody, and what we're going to do is show you something familiar as it disappears. Oh no, there's another one anyway. There was there, everybody, a helmeted guinea fowl. Alright, let's have one more look there at the wildebeest. And we're going to head off now and see what else we can find. And who are we going to hand them back to, Kirsten? And we're going to hand you back to Steph, who is with the inimitable Styx Pride, and with any luck, we too will find some lions.
And from more than 4,000 kilometers away, I have to say, James, thank you very, very much. Not only 4,000 kilometers away, 4,000 kilometers, and if you include the length that you have to travel through South Africa to get to our border, 4 countries away from where we are. And we're able to switch from one place, Mara, completely different ecosystem, to the Kruger National Park. I mean, isn't today just one of those monumental days? It's one of those days of days in the wild earth and the safari life story. I'm very, very, very happy that you are all here to share it with us. Excuse me blinking every now and again. I must be honest, the sun feels like it's welding my forehead to the ground here today. It is intensely bright. We are obviously going out of our winter now and into what we will call our spring on the 1st of September, and then into Hell Month, which happens in October. And what I mean by Hell Month is the fact that the temperatures peak at 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 40, 45 degrees centigrade, and no water and no vegetation around. Now, this morning we were having a look at this pride, and I must be honest, I was quite worried about the one cub. That little cub that you're looking at now is the one that we were worried about this morning. He's now joined his parents, but you can see he's just not looking that happy. Look, that pose that he's in at the moment isn't too much of a concern. He is so full of buffalo at the moment that he can literally just only drag himself out of the sun and into the shade. And that's a common pose for a lion cub to be in. But just look at how swollen he is. Sorry, VM, I just didn't mean to do that. But he is incredibly swollen with the mange at the moment, all the scratching and licking. So Dory, all the way from South Carolina, you've asked me if we've ever found the 8th cub. And you know, I was actually trying to have a look for the 8th cub now. I still only count 7. However, there is an anomaly. On top of the termite mound, which we can't really see right now, but straight through there are some cubs, I think 2. There may be a 3rd up there, Dory, and that may give us the 8th cub. But I have confirmed that 8 cubs started to eat on the buffalo, but only 7 cubs made it here. It seemed like that this morning. But, I mean, a cub could have been easily lying out of where I could have seen today. I mean, it's not impossible that there was a cub lying on top of this termite mound the whole time. So, yes, we may still have 8 cubs. But steel yourself for the fact that around about, the average in Africa is around about 80% cub mortality in their first year. So only 2 out of every 10 cubs usually survive. The Kruger National Park obviously has a much higher survival rate than that. I would reckon that probably between 4 and 6 out of every 10 cubs die. Definitely not 8 out of every 10. It's one of the reasons why we have such healthy coalitions of males, such as this Birmingham Boy Coalition, which started off as 5, is now 4. They lost a member in taking over the Nkuhuma and the Styx Pride. Actually, I don't know if they lost their member taking over this pride, but they lost a member in a fight to secure their territory that has in it the Styx Pride and the Nkuhuma Pride lioness, prides of lions, I should say. You can see male just holding the female there quite lovingly on her shoulder. I don't think there's much affection between these two, to be honest. It's more just a complete dominance thing. Dominance and submission. That is exactly what it is. Now, Via made an interesting remark. And Sam, I'll answer your question about lion cubs in a second. Via made an interesting remark in that the Birmingham boy here doesn't suffer from any of the mange that all the females and all the cubs are suffering from. And he wanted to know why, and I was at a loss. I can only imagine that all lions probably carry this mite, this mange mite. And it's only when their systems are running low that the mite has the conditions in which to proliferate like it is. And I think that that's what's happened, is that this pride has gone through a little bit of pressure from something or somehow, and they're fighting off this infection at the moment. It is possible to survive these infections as giraffe, and as I've seen many lions with this type of infection before. I've even seen wild dog and cheetah with these infections before. So it's not something that I'm too concerned about, to be honest. Nothing that we should be concerned about. It's something that's part of the natural system out here. And I think as soon as they get over this little bit of stress that they're having at the moment, they'll be fine. Now, to answer the question about how old do I think these cubs are, I am going to need a little bit of help with that because I'm not exactly sure of their birth dates. But there are 2 sets of cubs here. They are 2 different ages to one another. One's slightly older than the other by probably about a month or so. I stand to be corrected. I will give you the exact dates in a second or two, just as soon as we can have some or other type of update on that, which shouldn't be too difficult. The lions and the leopard and the cheetah in this area are their lives are very, very, very well documented. Oh, I forgot to invite you to please tell me how old these cubs are. Of course, you can interact with me on this particular safari, and I would love for you to be able to give me the exact dates that these cubs were born, or plus minus, I mean, a few hours out either way, 48 hours or so, either way won't make too much of a difference. But you can send it through to the hashtag Safari Live, or you can email it through to questions@wildearth.tv, and I'll be happy to share those dates with you. I don't see these lions very often. In actual fact, today and this morning was the first time that I actually seen these cubs. And it's only about the third time that I've seen the Styx Pride itself. So as to its history, I'm not that up to date. And I'd rely on your feedback there, absolutely. It would be welcome. Let's have a look at these two. With a tummy full of buffalo like this, they can probably go for around about 2 weeks before they start to look bedraggled. They will most likely start to hunt actively from tomorrow night again. And they'll probably kill something either that night or the night after. It's tough to say exactly when they're going to kill because they are opportunistic, so they're going to need to have an opportunity to do that. But I think that they'll probably eat within a week from now, and they can last for 2 weeks. On that point, Brent is wanting to give you an update. I think he's feeling a bit left out, perhaps.
So we're doing the waterhole rampage at the moment. Not too successfully, unfortunately. We've just arrived at Sydney's, and all I can see is some kudus in the distance. Let me just idle on forward a little bit. Now, the other reason I've come up towards Sydney's waterhole is Herbie tells me that there were tracks of Vula and Shluva very close to here this morning. So I just wanted to have a quick look, see if they decided to come join us on Djuma. And I can hear some canaries, but they're a bit far. Okay, let's head towards Red Dam. Maybe we'll have more success there. Now, because it is Killer Bee Day, we have some Killer Bee related questions for you. We would like to know, out of the current, out of all the leopards that have been seen on Safari Live, can you name 2 leopards that only the Killer Bees have seen out of the current Safari Live team? Oh, so who can name the 2 leopards? I think it might be, it's 2. Out of the current Safari Live team, only the Killer Bees have seen those 2 leopards. So, if you know the answer to that, let us know, questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Name 2 leopards that only the Killer Bees have seen. Brian, do you know which ones they are?
I think so.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I do.
I think there could be 3, but we'll leave it at 2. We'll leave it at 2. Okay, so we're going to head down towards the western edge of Djuma now and take a quick squiz past One Eye Pan Road and then zip down to Red Dam. Now, we need to look very carefully. Oh, there's a common bird we haven't seen yet, Brian. The magpie shrike. And before it disappears, because it is Killer Bee Day and everything bee is wonderful, oh my goodness, we're being attacked by a truck. Quickly, before the truck arrives, Brian, go to this little dead, looks like that one there, off to the, on this little thing here, there. It's a broad-banded grass yellow, a butterfly, the first butterfly of the day. But we are unfortunately going to have to move before we run off the road by a caravan of all things. Not something you see too often in the Sabi Sands. It must be a bit lost. Ah, Steph has actually seen it leaving Cheetah Plains. Hello. Hi, how are you doing? Very friendly man, at least. Okay, so we've got our first butterfly. Broad banded grass yellow. And of course, the magpie shrike. That's number 34. So we've got a couple of more common bird species that we actually didn't see. Now, this area, I think we might have to come back through it when it's a little bit cooler, because this is one of the only spots I've seen Swanson's spurfowl regularly on Djuma. There it is. Aha. We don't have to come back for the Swansons because I have found it. And I don't know why we don't see them in too many other places. But only place I see Swansons is in this little area. Off it goes. There we go. That is the biggest of the Franklin and spurfowl species we get in this part of the world. The Swanson spurfowl. Now, the difference between a spurfowl and a Franklin is the naked skin on the face, and it's wonderfully red. This is quite a shy spurfowl. And keeps running away. There we go. You see that naked skin, red. On other spurfowls, it can be orange. It can. There's even some in East Africa that maybe James can show you that is blue. Although with Graham Wallington on camera, I doubt you're ever going to see a bird. See, I didn't even know that, but I guessed it. As I said, apparently James asked Graham to put a marabou stork in flight. Graham laughed and said, not a chance. Yes, I didn't imagine Graham, when we were in Rwanda, looked at me with great bemusement when I got up early on our morning after the gorillas and wandered around the town looking for sunbirds. There we go. Let's leave the little Swansons to continue on. Oh, Leslie in California, you have 1 out of 2. One leopard that out of the current Safari Live team, because I think Scott has also seen it, but he is no longer with us, is the Anderson male. The biggest male in the Sabi Sands. The killer beads have been there. The second, however, is not Gajima. Who did I see Gajima with? That was with VM. But so there is another leopard, and it was quite recently. Oh no, there's another one. There's 3. There's 3. There's 3. Now, MJ says Anderson, indeed correct. Quatile, not. Quatile we saw quite a few times and with various presenters and cameramen. But we have definitely got 1 male, which is the Anderson. I'm just trying to think. Were you with me for quarantine and... Or maybe there's 4. Well, we'll have to figure this out. I think there's Herbie on his boundary patrol, making sure leopards have come in and out of Djuma. Ellen Fowler, you're being mean. Schluver 2005 is the one leopard I haven't seen. But it is not, and Gajima is not. So there's 2, possibly 3 other leopards that haven't been seen. Sorry, doing my civic duty. So I know 100% there's two females, and I think there might be another male, but only 4 female. Wait, there's 3 females, 1 male. Aha! Maybe we'll find a new leopard today. I've heard rock drift's been hanging around Arathusa. So while you try to figure out what those leopards are, we have possibly one of the most rare sightings. It is unbelievable, and we're going to go all the way to Kenya to see Graham Wallington filming a bird.
There, everybody, is the helmeted guinea fowl, a spectacular species found much of the way through Africa. That is not why we're here, of course. There are the wildebeest, and they're now thinking again of coming across the river. They've been milling around here. A few of them have headed off to the left. They've turned around, they've made a few bleating sounds, they've turned back. And now it looks as if they might approach the river again. Now, I'm inexperienced in these things. I don't know if they're going to cross the river or not. Mr. Wallington on camera today says, well, when you have wildebeest at a river, a crocodile and a dead wildebeest, you can be sure that something is about to happen. Ergo, we are still here, we have not moved. Now, while we wait to see these indecisive animals and whether they will or will not decide to have a swim on this very warm and pleasant afternoon here in Kenya, yes, that's what I said, Kenya, in the Mara Triangle, I would like to send out a very special shout out to Joanne McCulloch. That comes from everyone at Wild Earth, who sent through a very kind message today about the joy that Wild Earth gives her. She's having a bit of a tough time health-wise at the moment, and so we wish you all the very best, Joanne, and we hope that this unbelievable scene, an ancient landscape and an ancient dance that has been taking place for goodness knows how many millennia, we hope it gives you some joy and strength as you forge ahead with your difficulties. So good luck. Now, you can see they're getting a little bit sort of, kind of uneasy. Well, Miss Lynn, you want to know what I'm smelling. You're in North Carolina. Well, my proximity to the cameraman, Graham Wallington, means that that's largely what I'm smelling, and it has been a long day in the car. I am talking rubbish, Miss Lynn. It smells, you know what, it smells kind of, I don't mean this in a bad way, it smells a bit cleaner, I suppose. The air smells a little bit fresher than perhaps, oh, here comes some zebra, everybody, they're coming down to the water now. It's unfamiliar in many ways, Miss Lynn, so it's difficult to describe, but there is that dust in the air. We had a very windy night last night. And very little in the way. I went for a walk this early morning and watched the sunrise on the side of the mountain, on the side of that great escarpment I showed you, the edge of the Rift Valley, if you can believe it. And there was a very nice sort of flowery smell, because up there it's in amongst the trees, it's quite well sort of thicketed, the kind of place that Karula and her ilk would like to live. Now, let's see what these zebra do. Now, we've watched a few zebra come down to drink, and they have just drunk. They haven't crossed. I haven't seen a zebra take a bath today yet. But here we now have some movement from the rest of the herd. Everyone, they're moving down towards the water. And as I say that, you know what else I can smell, Miss Lynn, is the smell of this river. And I wouldn't describe it as a smell of pristine spring water, but it is a smell of an African river. There's a lot of silt in it, and it's sort of dark and ominous under the surface, but it is life-giving, because all of the animals here must drink water. There are no artificial water points like there are in the Sabi Sand, for example. So all of these animals must come and drink from the perennial Mara River. Let me just say that again. We are sitting, broadcasting live from the banks of the Mara River. Isn't that amazing? Hello, Robin. You want to know about those zebra and whether they have a shadow stripe. The further north you go from sunny, gorgeous South Africa, the less that shadow stripe is in evidence. So these ones have got virtually no shadow stripe. You'll see one or two who've got a fairly clear shadow stripe, but you'll see just as many that don't have any. The other thing I've noticed about these zebra while we've been here, and while we look, ooh, it looks like this herd might come down to drink now, or indeed take the plunge. The other thing is that many of the zebra here seem to have fairly Roman noses. They've got a very distinctive kind of roundedness about them. Here we go. Oh, they're right at the edge now. Now, when we got down here, a few of them were where they are now, but there wasn't this great groundswell of support. We had a question during our Facebook Live time earlier today about whether or not there is a leader in the herd, and there is not, and that is why there is this indecision. This, everybody, is democracy at work. Everybody has their say, and eventually everyone will decide what to do. There will be a consensus, and one will take the first plunge, and then the rest will follow. And then we'll see what happens. Will a great ancient reptile leap from the deep and grab one? Will they make it across so that they may eat the grass that is, to my mind, in the same greenness as it is on that side? Here we go, here we go. Oh, 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 oh. Nearly there. You see, 2 or 3 nearly went. Ah, Steve, you want to know what the beautiful tree in the distance is, Steve? I have to say, ashamedly, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is a boskia tree, which means it's a member of the shepherd's bush family. I climbed one earlier today, obviously, and I sat there just before lunch, and I think that's what it is. It's a stunning tree, isn't it? The way the light is catching it is just too beautiful. Now, the indecision, I'm afraid, of the wildebeest has meant that they have now decided to turn around again. What you can't see here, everyone, is that there is a crocodile, a very large one, the same size as this behemoth this side. There's a very large one sitting the other side of the bank, exactly opposite to where those wildebeest were standing and thinking about crossing. And I think they're a little bit nervous of being eaten by him. Now, while we wait and see, I want to show you something else that we haven't seen, or that we don't see there at Juma. Let's just see if I can spot it again. A, and then B, if I can point it out to Graham. It's moved. I'm just scanning the plains with my binoculars. But no, it was an olive baboon. So there's a baboon species here called the olive baboon. Looks very similar to our Chakma baboon, but it's got, the males have got a rather more impressive sort of, I called it a mane earlier, but Peter Bart told me I was talking nonsense, so, but I'm going to call it a mane for lack of a better term. It's not quite a mane. It's like a sort of enlarged beard, if you like. Now you can see one of them has lain down. He's got very tired with the democracy that's going on here. He thinks it's rather ridiculous. Hello, Tucker. You're just 4 years old. Hello, is this your first trip to Kenya? It's my first trip to Kenya, and I hope you're having a good time here in Kenya with me. You say, are they going to take a swim? Well, yes and no. You know, they're not going to swim just because they want to swim, because it's hot, or, you know, to play in the water like you might. They're going to jump into the water, and then they're going to try and come to the other side. But that's very dangerous because there are crocodiles in the water. And, you know, we've seen 2 or 3 on the banks, but many of them will hide under the water, and it's almost impossible to see them. And that's why they're so scared. You can see them coming close to the water, then they stop and they go back again, they come close to the water, and so they don't really know what to do. And some of them are getting a bit tired and they're lying down over there while they wait for perhaps the more the older ones or the more experienced ones to decide whether they should go across or not. And there are lots and lots of people around here, everybody, I must say. Hello, Anna-Marie. I'm just going to ask Graham to let go of the camera, just in case he gets a shudder of tears, as I tell him what you have said. You've said that Graham Wallington makes dreams come true. Well, that is rather true, isn't it? I've never been here before, and it's an absolute dream come true to be standing right here, watching these unbelievable scenes unfolding in front of us, and hopefully they will become slightly more unbelievable as the wildebeest decide whether or not to cross. There's a bit of a breeze blowing in there. That's the direction we're looking at now, everyone, is north. Ooh, there's a bit of movement here. I think he's going to roll. No, he's just doing a 20-meter circle as per a seemingly invisible dressage test set him by one of his friends. I can now hear them bleating. No, 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 no. There's an air of expectation now, there really is. So you're looking out to the north there pretty much, everyone, and you may see that the sky seems to be turning slightly greyer. I wonder what I have no idea what the weather's going to do here. Now, Mimi, 15 years old, you ask a very good question about an animal that could possibly be more than 100 years old. And you want to know, the crocodile gets hungry, or will it kill again if it isn't hungry, if it's eaten? The answer is no, Mimi, it won't. Crocodiles can sometimes go for 2 years without food, believe it or not. So if they eat a wildebeest, then they don't need to eat for a long, long time. And the fact that there is a dead wildebeest next to us, that nothing is eating, tells me that I think this is probably quite a good time for those wildebeest to pop across here. And we're just that zebra thinking about perhaps having a bit of a drink. Hello, Kirsten from Denmark, as opposed to the final control. You want to know, can we get across the river, or do we go across the river? You can. There are a few crossing points, but it's a different kind of park there, so you've got to sort of pay an entry fee to go in there, which is perfectly normal. And because we have 350 square miles or 510 square kilometers of land here, there's no need for us to go across the river. I'm just pointing out what looks to be another familiar friend from Juma. It looks like a yellow-eyed canary. Oh no, doesn't that looks like a zebra, doesn't it?
Yes,
The canary is just in this bushel over here. There it is, you've got him middle frame. Up a bit. There we go. Keep going. Up a bit. That's him. Yeah, that's him. There he is. A lemon splodge. I think that's probably the yellow-fronted canary, everyone. The birds here, there are lots of different birds, and I was just been looking underneath the feet of those wildebeests there. There, Graham, can you see the lapwing there? There it is. There's a lapwing, everybody. I don't know what lapwing that is. I'm going to find out for you right now. Well, I'll ask Peter to maybe find out. He's staring down that way. See if we can find out what lapwing that is for you while we wait for these birds to move. Not birds. What are they called again, Graham?
Birds.
Wildebeest, that's what it is. That's right, yeah. Lapwing. Right, here we go. Aaron, you want to know if we get brown hyena here? I don't actually know the answer to that. I think you probably do. You certainly get something called an aardvark, which is not an aardvark, an aardwolf, which is a small hyena, and you also potentially, but unlikely, to see something called a striped hyena, which is a very small hyena. Now that lapwing, everybody, as far as I can make it out, is called a spur-winged lapwing. That's quite special. First one I've ever seen. I'm getting yips from the back here. Peter Braat, budding ornithologist, in fact more than budding ornithologist, agrees with me, a spur-winged lapwing. Is that it? My earphones have come apart. I'm just refixing them to themselves, and I'm back. Right. Now, what else can we see here while we wait for these indecisive beasts? Yeah, there seems to be some movement again. Erica, you want to know if they've got forest elephants here. Erica, they don't. Forest elephant, of course, a species found in the real forests. So, I mean, they're found in the forests of Central African Republic, and down into the Congo, into Gabon, where Brent has been, and that's where Brent spent quite a lot of time with them. So they're found in the Congo Basin, where there is a vast forest area. Here you can see not many trees in sight, and so it would be inappropriate habitat. Let's have one last look at these wildebeest and see if this current movement doesn't bring them down to the bank, and if it doesn't, we'll hand you back to South Africa, and we'll probably sit here for a bit longer. Okay, everyone, let's head back to South Africa, find out what Brent's got. Sounds like he's having a fantastic game drive. And we will see you a little bit later.
So we've gone past Red Dam. Oh, nothing there, but Brian, the second butterfly, you got him? Don't fly away so fast, little acrea. Oh, it's too gone. It was a little acrea. We'll try to find some more. We're going to have more success with the butterflies on the sunset safari than on the sunrise safari. It was still a bit chilly for them to all wake up. But, oh, there's some ellies. Hello, ellies. Oh, maybe they'll head up towards the water. Or maybe, it doesn't look like they'd already been. Let's have a look. Looking very relaxed. Let's try back down in the Marrakech. So we're in the Marrakech River, and quite often, very good spot, not only for elephants, which are here now, but also for leopards and birds, of course. These eddies are not looking very relaxed. So they're moving off quite quickly. You see the dust through there. What I'm doing is I'm just listening, see if we can hear elephants elsewhere. So this could be the peripheries of a much bigger herd. I can hear a bird as well. So we are going to catch up with those ellies, but I can hear a little bird party up the road. Let's see if we can find them. Bird calls are getting louder. Got him, Brian? There we go. That's the call I've been listening to. Ooh, here's a difficult one. Now, some of you might be able to identify it from its call. Maybe if we go forward, we might get a slightly better view. But if you do know what it is, please let me know. questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag. Oh, he's flown. Where's he landed? In the base of this little... Okay, you got him, Brian? Okay. Oh, okay, there you go. Flicking there. let's do a little cheat. Psh, psh, psh. Like, there we go. Okay, come down to the left and up a little bit and zoom in there. A little bit down. Nope. Or maybe that was enough of a glimpse to get an ID. Very beautiful singing voice though. I'll try one last view. Okay. Right in the base of there. If he sits for a second. A little bit up to the left. Was there? He gone already? No, he's disappeared. Well, that is the problem with birds. They tend to flutter by. Not quite as difficult as the butterfly. And yes, Rena, of course we will hunt butterflies on Killer Bee Day. Oslo says, how come there's Wi-Fi on a safari? Well, Oslo, there's no Wi-Fi on the vehicle with me. The Wi-Fi is back in our control room. So we've got the ladies sitting there and they feed me your questions through here. And by the way, Oslo, a very warm welcome to Safari Live on a very special day. It's Killer Bee Day. I'm Brent, my cameraman's Brian, and we generally find the best things, so we decided to name a day after ourselves. And of course, the first time ever we're going live from the Maasai Mara. So a very exciting day, and what a good day to be a first-time viewer. It's the same bird that was calling, but a different one. And it's skulking away in this tambuti tree. I'm going to make it over the hump. Nope. Oh, Ryan, sorry, near impossible with that light. And guaranteed as we go past, it's going to make its escape. And it did. But anyway, that's a brain teaser for you guys. You might be able to identify from its call. Well, it seems like we've got lots of new viewers. Hello, Wernie. Wernie would like to know, what did we study to do what we're doing now? And what exactly are we doing now? Well, Wernie, believe it or not, when I started at university... Oh, hello, Ellies. Here we go. Oh, that female at the back looks very old. He's a nice little youngster. Wernie, I will get back to your question shortly, but let's just enjoy these elephants while we're with them. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. Okay, so looks like quite an old female. Hello, old lady. Oh, I actually haven't seen this female in a long time. Remember her, Brian? She's got that one recurved tusk, the one that faces backwards. It must have been about 6 months since I've seen her. Very old girl, probably around 55 to 60 years old. Try get you a view. She's got a very unique tusk, one that sort of goes the opposite direction. We'll try get you a view now. Hello, old lady. Now there's another one that I've only seen once that actually had two tusks coming out of the one side. So there we go. Can't really see it. She's moving through the bush. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head up ahead of them, and hopefully they're going to move through into the open while we wait for them to come. Let's have a look. And it sounded like there were quite a few other elephants spread out through these guarri thickets. Let's see if there's any in a slightly better position to view. while we do that, believe it or not, what I first studied was law. Didn't last very long. I only studied for about 6 months. But I've been very lucky. I've grown up in the bush my whole life. So I have no real formal education. I've just had some of the most incredible teachers throughout the years, from rangers and trackers throughout Africa. I can hear eddies. Ah, there we go. Here I could hear one. And of the other presenters, I think Steph studied geology. James did a couple of degrees. I think he did English and then environmental science, maybe. Jamie did law, Cambridge. So strangely, none of us actually studied what we do, but of course our passion led through. I mean, I've been working as a safari guide professionally for about 15 years. Oh, crunch, crunch, crunch. Down goes the zebra wood. Now, what's quite interesting, you might notice here that this elephant is going to try and move those dead branches to try and get to the grass that's growing underneath. So I've just got to be on the radio. Sean. Sean, there's also a Klambi of mobile west from Red Dam up towards the cut line. Negative moving from the Marakeni west, but yeah, not too far. So there we go. So elephants quite often will quite often remove and push trees that have been pushed over. So you can see how it's putting its trunk right into that thorny thicket. Now there'll be some, there we go, look at that, a little, what is that? A little creeper, or a little, I can't see what plant it is, it ate it too quickly, but that has been protected from the other animals by this thorny thicket that the elephants have pushed down. Now the elephants are one of the only animals still able to utilize this resource. Now we are in the worst drought since 1992. So the elephants are feeding on a whole host of species they might not normally feed on. It actually looks like it's eating an anthericum at the moment, which is a semi-succulent type of wild flower, and that's the first and probably last anthericum I'm going to see this year. Hello, Mia. Great to have you with us. Mia is 4 years old, and Mia just says she's so happy that we're with the Ellies. Well, Mia, we're so happy to have you with us with the Ellies. Well, hello to Sam and his wife. I wonder what Sam's wife's name is. Well, let us know, Sam, but Sam's wife really likes elephants and is so excited to see them on the safari. Well, it's an absolute pleasure having you guys on the back with us, and welcome to the Safari Live family. Now, you can see in front of that elephant, you can see those very thick spines. Now, I can see where my finger is. I don't know how this is going to work. Where's the camera? Those ones there. Now, if you look carefully at those, even if you had the thickest, strongest soled boot, that zebra wood spine would go straight through your shoe. But just to let you know how tough the inside of an elephant's mouth is, that elephant would crunch through that with absolutely no problem. Now, moving on, and then you can see, as it moved on to, it looks like a spike thorn now. No, still a zebra wood. Now, elephants, of all the animals out here in the bush, are probably awake for the longest and are the most active throughout a 24-hour period. That's because they have to keep that massive frame well fed. And of course, with the drought conditions, they're probably even feeding longer hours than they would have in the past. So even though traditionally at this time of the year, elephants would be focusing about 80% of their diet on trees and bushes, but it depends on the type of trees and bushes. I said they're eating quite a few species that we don't normally see them eating in a normal year, and I'll go into that. Well, anyway, thank you, Sam. Sam's name is Amanda, and Amanda loves elephants. So there we go. Welcome to Sam and Amanda. Okay, now let's have a look. So, as I said, well, an elephant's eating a bush willow, which is not uncommon even in a normal dry year. But the species that we're seeing the elephants feed on that is not normal for this part of the world in a dry year, or in a normal wet year, is the monkey oranges, especially the monkey oranges actually, and also the guarries, spike thorns. Up ahead, right? It's that old female. There she comes. So as we were hoping, if we parked in the right spot, she was going to walk right towards us. Hello, old lady. Now, to me, it looks like she's starting to feel the effects of the drought. You look at those indentations on her skull, also on her shoulders and her hips are starting to show a little bit more. And it is always the older animals, and of course the young animals, that really get affected by these climatic changes. See, I mean, there she's eating a little Waltharia, and it's not a plant you see elephants eating very commonly. And the Waltharia have a high level of hydrogen cyanide in them. I mean, in an animal an elephant size, the odd Waltharia plant, that hydrogen cyanide is not going to make any difference. But it's the same plant that the acria butterflies sequester their poisons from. Found a little red thorn, little acacia. And if we look closely at acacias, which is one of an elephant's more favored tree species, a lot of them have been completely annihilated this year, along with the buffalo thorns. Hello, old lady. She's probably about only 7 foot from the front of the vehicle now. Greg in Colorado, welcome, would like to know, how long will it take for some of these trees and bushes to recover once the Ellies have destroyed them? Well, see, I don't see them, elephants, as destroying them. Now, elephants are what we call a keystone species. So they are designed to be able to change the environment. And bashing over trees and bushes is one of those things. And that's probably the reason they have developed not too good a digestive system. So when an elephant bashes over a tree like that, right next to a trunk, it creates a home for a whole bunch of other insects. It also adds carbon and nutrients into the soil, especially if we get a fire through, once we get a bit of grass. It's all part of an interconnected cycle. Oh, there goes another wildfire. This lady lives dangerously. She likes the cyanide. Hey, old girl. And you can see, completely taking not even the slightest notice of us. She just passed within 6 feet of us, just carrying on with her business. Now, of course, with elephants, it's very important to read their behavior correctly. And if you don't know elephants well, I wouldn't recommend switching off in the middle of a herd of elephants. And there are some telltale signs to look for, especially if you are planning on driving yourself around the Kruger or anywhere. My best advice is watch their tails. As soon as there's a bit of stiffness in the tail, rather give that elephant a bit of space. Okay, let's move back a little bit. Now, Betty, hello Betty. Betty says after watching the live drives, it's now become her life's greatest dream to come to Africa. Well, Betty, hopefully you make it. Where there's a will, there's a way. So what we're going to do, Betty, is we're going to leave these elephants. They're cutting into our birding time, and we've got to get to that 50. Also, we've spent a nice part of the really hot part of the afternoon with the Ellies, so hopefully the birds are going to be a little bit more active. Now, as we head back towards Djuma, doesn't sound like much happening on Arathusa, so let's go see what we can find back up in the north. Now, Jen would like to know, was Bahuti one of the leopards that only the killer bees have seen? Nope. No, I thought you guys would get this a bit faster, didn't you, Brian?
I did too.
Yeah. Okay, so while we make our way back towards Djuma, let's go see what Steph's been up to.
I must say, thank you very much, Brenton. It has been, it's actually from our side of here, it's actually been quite an interesting afternoon. I mean, we've gone from lions to elephant, from elephant to the Maasai Mara, looking at a pod of hippos in a completely different place, 4,000 kilometers away. And then back again to us trawling through cheetah plains. And we will be approaching the open areas, the grand open areas from the southern end. We're on the Mala Mala boundary as we speak. And I'm hoping that at one of the busy pans around the edge of this open area, we will see some life. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't quite know. It might be a little bit early for the elephant to come and drink around about this time, but we've seen a lot of tracks on the road. Liam and I have even had to jump out and, using our panga, hack away some branches that were in the way. And it's because I sharpened my panga yesterday, so I wanted to test it out on the branch. VM says I sharpened it nicely. Coming from him, I'll take that as a massive compliment. Oof, it is dry here. Officially, there is now no grass left on this portion of Cheetah Plains. There's just dry leaves And that's that. Have a look in here. Isn't that just the most amazing thing? That's the side of the termite mound, but if you go around from the termite mound and you just have a look, there's just nothing. And we probably have about another, I don't know, before we get another 5 or 10 mils of rain, it'll be somewhere in September, we'll get another 5 or 10 millimeters of rain. There's something standing in the road way down there. Let's see what it is. It looks like an elephant's bottom from here. No, it is a impala. All right. Lots of elephant tracks on the road here, which is a good sign. I think they're going to come for this water that's here. We squashed up right against the Kruger National Park, and a couple of years ago the Kruger National Park embarked on a pan closing escapade where they closed all of their man-made pans. And now the Sabi Sands sees its fair share of elephant number increases because of that. We didn't do that, or the Sabi Sands hadn't done that. And that means we get this traffic that comes out of here all the time, which is quite nice. Here's an impala. Let's go and have a look at these guys, see what they're up to. James, you've just asked me, with spring on the way, when can we expect to see the lunar moth again? James, they come out around about Christmas time, November, December time. Although you catch me with a sore point in that I really, really want to find a lunar moth caterpillar and its pupa. That was my mission last year, and I failed dismally in that particular mission. And I absolutely want to try and do it again this year. But let's talk a little bit about these impala. This is another bachelor herd of impala. And actually, in this particular place, there's some grass, which is no wonder that we're finding these impala over here. You can see there's just a little bit of growth. And I know why. We are on a seep line. The second most important source of water in the Sabi Sands is these seep lines. And they're basically like smudged springs. Halfway down most of these hills, we have an area, a contact zone between the sandy soils from the crests and the clayey soils from the valleys. And what this does is it forces water out at this contact point, and that contact point is called a seep line. And even though these seep lines have been dry now for more than a year, they definitely still hold enough moisture to get the last few hardy grasses that you can see just around the feet of these impala. Enough moisture to grow. Alright, let's carry on going. These impala have moved slightly off of the road, and they don't look like they're doing anything too exciting. Wow, the sun is bright today. Oof, it is intense. I think what's happening is there's quite a lot of reflection off of, or refraction off of the dust. You can see that the sand in this particular area is white. It's granitic in origin, and it has a very, very high feldspar and quartz constituent, and that causes a lot of refraction, and that is this glare that we're busy seeing at the moment. It is hardcore. Let's get myself some of those big glasses like Brent picked up today on his safari. Here we have some zebra as well. Let's see what we can see from here. See if we can get a little bit closer to the zebra, or at least a little bit more in the open. They seem to be on these game paths that are coming through. Yes, no, are we going to do it? Just get a face there for you. There's a zebra lying flat on his side there as well. Underneath it there where that face of that one is. There we go, that's a zebra sleeping. You can see the one on the Alright, and from our few zebra to many, many zebra, I'm going to send you back through 4,000 kilometers to the Mara Triangle, where James has some wildebeest.
There is linking. Linking.
Everyone.
Now, just as we decided, everybody, that you should come back here so that we could leave because they'd all gone to sleep, look, they've just got up. So we'll go through the sort of, I don't know, emotional turmoil of deciding whether or not they're going to cross this great river or not. You can see, perhaps up, if we go a little pan up, if I might trouble you, cameraman, thank you so much. The greying sky seems to be some weather blowing in from the north there, which is quite interesting. Maybe it will inspire some movement. Now, we've been discussing how on earth you can predict whether these things are going to cross or not. And what you can see from that picture is that we're not the only idiots in the Mara region waiting to see if this little herd will cross. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vehicles that side and about the same this end. So, we don't think we're in the wrong place. Peter Braat tried to come up with some statistical analysis for when and how you could predict whether a wildebeest would come across the river. Look, not a bad model, but I suppose given that we've only been here for 24 hours, it could do with some refining. But here we go. I've said that before at least 4 or 5 times. Look at that, Graham. We seem to have 13% battery left. So it should probably die as they go across the... Hello, someone called Love 3 Dogs. Hello, Love 3 Dogs. Well, welcome to Kenya. And you say you're not used to seeing so many safari vehicles. Yes, nor are we, I must confess. But that's just how the character of this place, and you know, it can be, I suppose, a little intrusive at times, but everyone's generally fairly well behaved. And the thing is, it's so open that you can kind of be in an area like this without affecting the animals at all, and perhaps not affecting the guest experience either. The other thing also, Love 3 Dogs, is that off-road driving is extremely limited in this area, which means that although there are 8 vehicles that side and 8 this side, no one's driving off the road, so no one's messing around, and so it's actually not a bad thing at all. It's a hammerkop, I think. You've got a hammerkop there. Well done, Graham. That's the bird. Yes, that would be good. And it would look less like a vulture. There we are. Wonderful. Hammerkop. You've all seen a hammerkop there at Juma. Same bird here. Well, not the exact same bird, but the same species. They're not known to come on little jaunts like we are. And here, this indecisive bunch of gnu's showing why they are known as rather gormless. Ooh! Here we go. James Richard, you want to know about endemic birds to the Mara. Are there any? Yes, I've no doubt there are some. I'm afraid to tell you that I have simply not been here long enough for me to be able to give you a list of the endemics. But yes, I'm sure there are 1 or 2 endemic birds here. I mean, some of the new ones we've seen, but we've seen the first lifer we had was at the Nairobi airport. And that was the superb starling, a stunning bird of sort of russet red, white, and then those amazing iridescent blues, greens and blacks that you're used to on our glossy starlings back there in South Africa. We've seen the other thing we saw today while on Facebook. Ooh, this is starting to look very good, everyone. The other thing we saw was something called a purple grenadier. Purple grenadier looks a little bit like a violet-eared waxbill. I don't know if you've ever seen a violet-eared waxbill before, but it's a little finch-like bird with astoundingly beautiful purple colours. Now, Cat in Tampa, you say, have we seen cheetah? We haven't, but we expected to, you know. We expected to see cheetah, and I think we will. They're certainly around here. They're not uncommon at all. They like to eat Thompson's gazelle very much. We did see a serval, like I said, and I maybe forgot to tell you, we saw lions yesterday, one of which I said, look over there, everyone, it's a leopard. And it wasn't. It was a lion lying in a tree. Come on, you feckless beasts, get in the water. Oh, great upheaval. Brenda, you say you love watching them jump into the water. Brenda, it would give me no more pleasure in nothing would give me more pleasure right now than to see these things doing precisely that, taking the plunge, leaping off the precipice, trusting to nothing but their herd instinct to get them across the river, and hoping that if someone gets nailed by a crocodile, it ain't me in front. Come on. Yeah, look, he's peering over the edge. Hello, Tim, you want to know if we see any alligators waiting? Tim, no alligators in this part of the world. They're only found in the New World, but we do find the Nile crocodile. That's what you find, that's what you're looking at over there. Well, eventually we'll be looking at over there. It's a little bit difficult filming in here because we're actually under a compulsory roof. But we don't know if there are any waiting for this particular herd. There could be any number lurking in the depths here. But they look like that they might want to cross in an area where there are quite a few rapids, which means I don't think there'll be anything quite the size of that 10-foot behemoth over there. But there certainly was another one the same size, pretty much opposite where these guys are on the bank. And were they to leap into the water, it's quite possible that he would get into the water with them and sort of swim at them from the other side. Jennifer, you say you're so nervous you can't even watch these wildebeest crossing on the TV anymore because of the crocs. Well, Jennifer, yeah, I feel a little bit nervous myself. My gut's telling me they're not going to do it, to be honest, but let's see. I hope I'm wrong, because it would be such an amazing thing to witness, especially plunging off a bank that deep. And thank you all for your screenshots. And Stephen very kindly saying to Graham what lovely photography he's taking. Well, he's not bad, is he? He's just gone, next to me. And that was a hippopotamus you heard in the background. We've got 11% battery left, Graham. We do have other batteries, everyone. But
we're not going to use them.
We're not going to use them because these things are going to go now. Here we go. Come on. Come on now. Be brave. There are lots of you. Sacrifice one or two to the crocs. It's just fantastic to witness. And the wind is blowing. It's starting to feel quite eerie. If the battery drops too much more, everyone, and they don't cross, we'll probably quickly link away and then change the battery. But for now, let's just keep watching. It is really suspense-filled. David, you want to know if some have already crossed? Oh, you got it. I'm just talking to Graham, everyone, sorry. Just finding another battery in this car. David, you want to know if some have crossed? The answer is no, not here. Over time they have, certainly, but not today. This is the second time we've been past here. This is from where we did our first broadcast on Facebook this morning. And they were doing pretty much exactly what they're doing now. And then we went to another spot and a whole lot crossed. I mean, we probably watched a couple of thousand crossing the river. So that was incredible. These guys have given up again. So I think what we should do now, everybody, is we're going to do... Hang on one sec. Oh, one's running. Here we go. No. He's basically saying to his mates, are you mad? Get away from the edge. Nothing wrong with the grass this side. Alright, we're going to change the battery now, everybody, so we'll hand you back over to South Africa. And Steph, I don't know what he's doing or what he's looking at, but whatever he has to say to you will be unquestionably interesting. See you shortly.
It is actually going to be an interesting statement. Thank you very much, James Hendry, from 4,000 kilometers away. I'm not going to say that enough today. I'm going to irritate myself by saying it eventually. I just can't get over the fact that we're doing this from such a big distance away. And you watching animals that are in a completely different country, 4 countries away from where we are, 4,000 kilometers, and having fun both ways. Isn't it just truly an amazing marvel? All right. We are now trawling the area around Cheetah Plains, around those open areas in Cheetah Plains. We've just been to visit 3 in a row pan, and there's nothing going on down this road, but Brent has a gymnogene to show you.
Well, I think there's a bit of miscommunication. That is actually a dark chanting goshawk. So there we go, sitting on top of the termite mound. Now, I wonder why he's on the ground. Has he spotted a squirrel, something to grab? We've actually seen incredible sightings of them tangling with snakes during the summer months. And, oh, they just spotted him. Did you see that, Brian? Just off to the left of the goshawk, in a sudden panic, a whole flock of white helmet shrikes suddenly saw him. They might... Can you hear their wings going... So they just... You can see them hopping around in the left frame. I'm going to try to get a bit closer to this. Oh, there they go. They're attacking him. Off he goes. He's going to fly closer to us. Oh, perfect. There we go. Dark chanting goshawk. Well done, Bebop. Now you see those red legs, red face, but you notice the lack of a white rump, and the white rump, and also his size is what tells me, the lack of a white rump, and also his size is what tells me that it's not a gabar goshawk. Ooh, you can hear the white helmet shrikes making lots and lots of noise. Yeah, they're coming in again. Attack of the white helmet shrike. Quickly across to the Mara.
We're live. Here we go, everybody. They're coming. They're going in. There's some hippo opposite them. We're just trying to organize the camera a little bit. You want to reverse slightly?
Yeah, Robert.
Can we just reverse slightly like that? We're just helping Robert, who's driving us today. Just slightly. Other way? Other way?
Okay, Robert, other way.
Robert, other way.
No,
No.
forward, Robert.
Backwards and to the right. No. No, right hand down. There we go. Sorry, everybody. Here we go. There we go. That's fine. Perfect.
Up.
Okay. My Swahili not quite as good as my Shangaan, everyone. Tanya, you say it's about time. Yes, it is about time, isn't it? But the new battery says 98%, and that is the chances of crossing, according to Graham Peter and their statistical model. And well, here we go. They could all decide just to turn straight back up the bank there. Ah, dear. Can you believe it? Well, that was certainly closer than they've got before. Yes. Hello, Hayley. You're wondering if they can break their legs when they cross. It can happen. Not normally at a bank like this. This is not a particularly steep bank. Here comes another lot trying to, well, thinking about coming down. Hayley, we were further south on the river during much of the afternoon. Here we go. And there are very steep banks, and they can break their legs when they do that. They can break various parts of their bodies. But their legs, obviously, the ones that go the most. But these banks are not that steep. It's probably about a 6-foot drop. No, not even that. Probably about a 5-foot vertical drop in some places here. Otherwise, it's just very steep. You'll just see a guinea fowl there, bottom right, bottom left of screen. They've managed to do it.
They're going to cross.
I think here come the guinea fowl, everybody. The guinea fowl are crossing, and they've inspired the wildebeest. Look at that. Sparky, I think you want to know what makes the wildebeest cross the river. Sparky, at this stage, apparently nothing. But, oh, here we go. Sparky, what it is, here we go, we've got a mass movement now. Sparky, it's a democracy. Eventually, the urge to cross becomes overwhelming in enough of them, and they will plunge into the water. They might just want to drink, you know, they wasn't necessarily kind of come across. Oh, this is very exciting. And look at the light. The light's beautiful. It's just popping out now. Michelle, you want to know if they would want to avoid hippos? Yes, they could. Might. They wouldn't want to walk straight into them. But hippos are unlikely to harm them. It does happen from time to time, but it's not likely to be a major deterrent. That thing is so close to jumping into the water. And I'm going to have to try not to scream and whoop for joy when it does happen, because there are people all around us, all enjoying this unbelievable scene. But I might whoop for joy anyway. May I whoop? Permission to whoop, Captain.
You may whoop at will.
I will whoop at will.
Clear to whoop.
Anne, sorry, I missed your question. I was talking nonsense. Ah, you want to know if this is males and females crossing? Absolutely. This is a herd of males and females. It's a breeding herd. Males, females, youngsters. There are a few yearlings here. There are a few that will be in their first migration. This will be their first time up here in the Mara. You were asking about the hippo. As they move off to the left here, there is a hippo kind of turning to face them. I don't think he'll sort of mean them any harm. And you know that a hippo becomes tremendously threatened. Oh. Some of them chickening out. You can just hear them going bang, 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 bang in the background. And look at the light. Isn't it beautiful? And AJ, you say you had no idea that they agonize so much before taking the jump. AJ, I've got to tell you, I didn't realize they agonized quite so much either. And I think what we were discussing here is that this is not a very big herd, and that perhaps a much larger herd would have had sufficient kind of quorum, if you like, to inspire them to come across already. But perhaps the pressure is just not quite sufficient in this little herd, and so they're sort of thinking about it and then deciding, no, don't fancy a swim. But there are a lot of people sitting all around us on tenterhooks, waiting. Fascinating stuff, this it really is. Absolutely incredible to see for the first time. Here we go again, everyone. To know how far across the river you say it looks just like a sort of run. It's quite far, you know. It's probably about I'd say 200 meters or so, maybe not quite, 150 meters across. So that's about 500 feet. So I mean, in places it's probably 200 meters. And it's just over 600 feet. And this is what everyone comes here to see. This time of year they come here to see these herds brave the waters. Slightly macabre, I suppose, given that I guess everyone's wondering whether they won't be set upon by those great behemoth reptiles, those ancient creatures of the waters of Africa, that have rendered so many of our watercourses almost completely unusable, because they lurk in the depths, and they of course are one of the very few animals that see humans as fair game. They're very happy to try and eat us. Not wildebeest, I mean. Crocodiles. Wildebeest don't eat people much, do they, Graham?
Not often. No.
Not often, no.
Well, I'm not an expert.
No. Well,
What we mean no.
I don't think any of us are experts right now. We predicted much wildebeest crossing. Here we go. Back down to the water. Come on, fellows. And everyone, I know you're rooting for the wildebeest, so are we. I'm assuming you are rooting for them to cross, as opposed to not cross. Oh, thank you, Lucia. You know my reputation as the laxative of the bushveld, and you say you're waiting for one of them to poop in front of me. Lucia, thank you. I hadn't thought about that. I'd forgotten about my reputation, and you have now reminded me. And so I feel sad. And look, see, the wildebeest are offended by you, Lucia. They've decided they don't want to cross now. Now, you see where they're going there? That small group, I think that's where they're going to go. That's the most likely crossing point there, which is in the wrong place for us. Move. Let's go. Shall we move slowly? Let's go. Now, Zoe, we're going to try and move, so many of you are going to get seasick, so you might have to close your eyes and just listen to me talk. Zoe, you want to know if we have a herd this size of Juma. Zoe, there isn't a herd this size in South Africa. They're probably about only 200 or so wildebeest in the entire Sabi Sands. And you'll just get an idea of the view that we're looking at there. There's vast plains, zebra all over the place, seasickness coming, and we're just going to see if we can't see them. They look like they're going to come, everybody, but I've said that now 58 times. Well, there's a shot there. Okay, here we go. I will keep an eye on them while we move, everyone, and if the camera suddenly whips to the side, then you will know that they are crossing. I'm just going to ask the final control to tell me if this gets very uncomfortable to watch. I don't mean from an animal point of view, I mean from a jumping screen point of view. Then you can let us know. But it also gives you an idea of the landscape that we're looking at, which is amazing. It's just so beautiful, and I'm sure there's quite a lot of wind. We will try and kill the ambient mic. I think it's the ambient mic. I'll just pull it out. No, wait, I'll turn it down. Hang on. We're almost there, everybody.
Hold on, hold on.
Hold on, everyone. Oh, God. I think I just broke a rib. Oh. Never mind the wildebeest injuries, everyone. Here we are. And this is very good, of course, this experiment we're doing, because we need to know if we can actually move and film at the same time. Oh. If I say If I say a bad word, I apologize profusely in advance. I'm having my left side of my rib cage crushed. Wallington on my right slamming into me. He's slamming into the other side. Oh, Wingnut, thank you for your question. You say, do they need to cross before it gets dark? Well, yes, ideally they do.
Straight.
But, Wingnut, I don't think that's necessarily going to... I don't think that's necessarily going to inspire them. They've now turned around again, believe it or not. Now, this is not going to be ideal, everybody, but there are lots of cars here at the moment. Leopard claw. I think you want to know when the gazelles cross. Pretty much the same. I don't think they cross as frequently as the wildebeest, but they do it every so often. You know, from time to time. I don't think they do it nearly as frequently as the wildebeest do, because they don't, of course. In fact, there are two of them. Graham, I don't know if you can see them there. They're having a fight up at the top. Just over the top of where the bank touches. There, those two there. You zoom in there. Yep, up a bit. Look at that, everybody. Two Thompson's gazelles having a fight. Look. That is magnificent. Look at that. And their horns are rapier long. And here we have some wildebeest at the water again. Now the zebras are getting in on the act. There are zebras this side watching them. And now they are rock climbing. Now I can only think that that's because there's a big crocodile this side. Because that kind of mountain goat-like behavior is ridiculous. Yeah. Now you know what? I'm scanning the water with my binoculars, everyone, to see if I can't see the telltale eyes or scales of a crocodile sticking up. I can't, but I do know that there is a massive crocodile behind the headland that we can't see behind here on this side of the river. And although this river bends, or pretty much traverses a line that is from northwest to southeast, it bends all over the place. It snakes everywhere. So this particular bend means that they are heading south. And Jules, you wanted to know which direction they were heading. It is that they are heading south. This particular piece of the river flows east-west. Let's just scan again the water's edge and see if there isn't perhaps a crocodile lurking. I don't know if you can hear them, everyone. They're going, oh, oh, oh. It's a wonderful sound. But one begs the question as to why they should be desperate to get across the river. I don't really understand. Laura, no, don't worry. You say, will they die if they don't cross? No, Laura, they won't die. There's plenty of grass that side. But there's obviously some reason, some driver, very powerful driver, bringing them across. There's one in the water now. There's the brave one. That's the one. Here he goes. Now let's watch. Now, what's happening, everybody? You'll hear all around me, people are starting to almost start cheering. They will be pushed slightly down this way, everyone.
Stop. Robert.
Look, there's a croc! There's a croc! There's a croc! It's a huge croc! Look at him! He's massive! He's turning towards them and they can do nothing! Oh my goodness. Look at this. They're trying to get away from him. Oh! I cannot believe this. There's a little one. There's a little one. So it's not that easy for the croc. He's grabbed one. That is a massive crocodile, everybody. He's got to be at least 10 feet long. He's grabbed one by the tail, by the leg now. He's grabbed it. He's got it by the tail. Oh no, it's gone behind the headland now. Half of the herd is coming out. We cannot move, everyone. I'm sorry about this.
Go forward, Robert. Get in there.
We'll try and get him forward now. Oh, this is unbelievable. Can you believe it?
Okay, that's good, slow.
Everyone, we don't know. We don't know what's happened now. We can't see. No one can get behind this headland. And we'll just see if we don't see one perhaps missing a tail. I can hear it bellowing. And here comes the zebra. We haven't seen zebra cross before. This is unbelievable. Oh, look, the croc's still there. He's still going. The wildebeest are just leaping here. He's obviously still in those shallows there, just behind this headland. There he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Here he goes, straight for one there. Oh, jeepers. This is unbelievable. There, he's got one. No, it's got away. That crocodile's the biggest crocodile I've ever seen, everyone. And there are many of them here. Now he's lying in the shallows. And they're being pushed by the current straight towards him. The last stragglers in there. They're not the last stragglers. They're middle size of the herd. Here he's biding his time for another lunge. Yeah, Blobbit McBlob. Lovely to hear from you. You say your heart has just popped out of your chest. Mine too. Ooh, here we go. Oh! This is too unbelievable. Now, two of them have given up. That one that was being chased has been bitten. He's given up. He's going back the other side. One of them has taken fright. And I'm just going to look and see while you're watching the crocodile. Not injured, hey? No injuries. No, he's scrambling up under there. That's him there, everyone. Now there's a young one trying to make it across just below the headland here, and the crocodile is after him, but we can't see it. Zebras have thought no ways. Gee whiz, people, I really didn't expect to see this on our very first day here. Crocodiles trying to catch wildebeest on a Maasai Mara crossing. Now they've just crossed onto the Mara Triangle. You can hear a couple of the zebra alarm calling. That was just unbelievable. My goodness. And Aunt Sissy, you say, can you believe that what we're doing here is being broadcast live? Aunt Sissy, I can't believe I'm seeing this, let alone broadcasting it to you live. And what an unbelievable thing that you are seeing this all over the world. You've just watched one of the most iconic African wildlife spectacles that there is. Crocodiles in the Mara River grabbing at the migrating wildebeest. And somehow he conspired to miss. You can see how they cannot have any dent on this wildebeest population. There are so many of them. Yeah, and James Richard, I have to say, I agree with you. I mean, I'm seeing this for the first time like you are. You say the croc success rate is a lot lower than you imagined. Yeah, I would agree. Much lower. I mean, he probably had a lunge at, what, 50 of them? And there he is. You see, we didn't see him. I don't know if he was the same one that was on the banks here. He could well have been. There could have been others lying underneath. And apparently the crop is just below the bank here. He's just there. There he is. There's the crop. There is the nasty reptile. Dina, you say you can't believe you're watching this all the way in California. Well, I can't believe I'm standing here watching it. And you can hear all the vehicles starting up probably now. They're off to go and have a drink. They're all going to be staring at the photographs they've taken. Yeah, I think we'll try and move back over there. All right, we're going to try and move the car, everybody. While we do that, let's head across to Steph, get an update from him, and we'll move the car and see you back here in just a little while.
I must say, I'm sitting here absolutely stumped. I'm envious, I'm green with envy, I'm jealous, dark jealousy that you've been seeing all of that. I mean, isn't that amazing? And it's live and it's happening right now. It's all the stuff that we've been seeing documentaries on for generations of people coming to Africa, and you seeing it live with us. I think that is is all I have to say about all that stuff. It's just too much to take in. I'm very, very excited for James. I think it's just so much fun for him to be there, and I'm sure you can see that in his face and with everything that he's doing. Viam and I, in contrast, have seen absolutely nothing, which I think is important because it does mean that we're going to be going back to Djuma at the moment. We've seen dust clouds and maybe one or two zebra. That's about it. So now we're going to head back into the sun and we're going to head back onto Djuma and see what we can see over there. We might make one more turn through those lines. It has got a few cars around there, but I think we might do a little bit of a sneaky peek and see what they're up to before we go home. Oh, before we head in the home direction. We're just coming back to this Mara thing you're seeing. Man, lifetimes of people have grown up around those stories. And we've got, let's see what these two are doing. It's unusual, there we go, thought so. It was unusual to see grey lories in the sand. What they do is they do practice, and a lot of birds practice what we call anting. And birds that are having a dust bath will quite often go and sit on top of an ant nest. They shuffle their feathers and the ants crawl onto them. And then as they're shuffling their feathers, the ants start to give off formic acid. And what that does is it loosens and irritates all the mites and parasites on their feathers. And I think that's what these two were doing, is anting. A way of giving themselves a bath. And there you have the grey go-away bird, or grey lory. I just quite enjoy these birds, to be quite honest with you. They belong to a very colourful family of birds called the turacos. And although these are the drabbest ones that you'll ever find, compared to their cousins, they're very comical out here for us. Can't see much now because it's behind that stump. There's one right at the top of the tree. Not right at the top, but a little bit in this gap here, Viam. There we go. Oh, sorry, excuse me, Viam was on top of it. Sorry, Viam. They are frugivores. They like eating fruit, and they do go from tree to tree looking for fruit. But this time of the year, they'll eat almost anything. Seeds, they'll even eat young leaves and shoots. Just anything to give them decent amount of food. All right, that was that for that particular sighting. We won't anting anymore. Let's carry on. The sun has cooled down a little bit, I must say. It's still got that intense orange glare, as you no doubt can see over this area here, but it's not as white hot as it was about an hour ago. It's allowing me to open up my eyes a little bit more. It's probably why we haven't been seeing too much here. I've had my eyes almost shut most of the afternoon. All right, and while we carry on down here and weave our way through this crest, this dusty crest, we'll send you back up to Brent, who's got an update for you.
I'm at an awkward angle. I've been trying to find the Nkuhumas. Now, there's a male lion. I can just make him out up there. and I saw tracks of the cubs heading in this direction. I'm just trying to go forward. Hopefully we don't roll over. And I'm just trying to have a look up one of these little areas here. But we've got to get our angles right. What's there, Brian? That's making me jump. A wall. Is it a small wall or a big wall? Okay. No. Are we over it? Almost. Okay, let's try it from the back of it. Let's change the angle. We good? Okay. So I was hoping that around the corner up there was going to be a lion cub. But alas, no such luck. What I'm doing is I'm listening to see if we can hear that wonderful, cute sound of lion cubs. Now the next question is, Brian, how do we get out of here?
I don't know.
Standing by, Elvis. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just trying to see where the Nkonzo for the Mampimpan go. People even asking if we're okay. We're okay. Brian and I have been in worse positions before. We are going to have to execute the 400-point turn. Tracks of the females and the cubs keep heading that way, so they might pop out at the Gallagher Pan a little later. Okay, this is going to be very interesting. Yeah. Well, I try to do a 400-point turn. All right, let's go see what Steph's up to.
A 400-point in my mind, I'm just conjuring up these pictures about what Brent is up to, and I don't quite know if I really want to see what those lions are up to me. So we're going to pickle on down here. I must be on that are here. I mean, today we've seen probably about 50 or 60 zebra here on Cheetah Plains. I saw one waterbuck and one kudu. We've seen a couple of herds of impala, nothing more than that. Oh, we did bump a herd elephant that was doing about 1,000 kilometers an hour, running away from who knows what. But not to. We are now traveling down to see these lions. Just got to make some space for this car that's coming up in front of us. The size of some of these elephant tracks that I've seen in the sand today, they've really been quite impressive. Oh, and William says he spotted some leopard tracks going. You? Good, we live this time. Cheers, Mike. Thank you. Bye. I've been driving circles around each other, trying to see all we can see in these blocks today. Right. I was just about to say, I've been surprised at all these elephant tracks, not just herds. On the Djuma side, we're getting a lot of herds coming through, but very rarely do we see any big bull elephants.
Sorry about this, everybody. Perhaps something has pushed over the Gowrie repeater, just like the elephants have pushed over this marula tree. Our technical team is rushing around madly trying to fix it, and we'll be back with you as soon as we can.
Welcome back. Sorry about that. We were obviously on the edge of dip or black hole play. I'm in the pan where the lions are going to be lying, and I've got a feeling now that inside that deep bowl where they were lying, there's going to be a lot of shadows now, which means that they're probably going to be spread out, which also means that we're probably going to be able to do a decent count on those cubs that we've been wanting and needing to do. Now, I only counted 7 before I left, but there were cubs spread out all around us, and there may have been one that was still sleeping, even from this morning, still sleeping under a bush or underneath a branch somewhere that I didn't see. It's going to be nice to see what it looks like when we get there. It's just in front of us here. Let's go and find out. Now we're on the back end of this hill in the shadows, and it is a much cooler place. Now, for those of you just joining us, the Styx Pride of Lions is a pride of lion that live in this particular area. They're made up of 3 females and we think 8 babies, although we may have lost one in the course of the last week. It is fairly common to lose babies of this age. They're quite young, and there is one male with them at the moment. He is a male in a coalition of 5 males. Excuse me, 4 males. 4 males. One of them has died. So he's in a coalition. He shares this particular territory with his 3 siblings, and together they hold sway over 2 different prides, and probably about, I don't know, land total-wise, maybe 7,000 or 8,000 hectares, maybe a little bit more than that. It's an extremely large piece of ground that these male lions have to cover, and they roar and they've been belting up. We've been really spoiled with lions over the last couple of weeks. We've pretty much had lions non-stop. There they are lying down there, shame, and these cubs are just still just scratching and scratching and scratching. There's that one. Let's go down there and go and see what they've been up to. Right, put on all the 4-wheel drives and all the diff locks. And take your hands off the steering wheel again, like I did.
Sorry about this, everybody. Perhaps something has pushed over the Gowrie repeater, just like the elephants have pushed over this marula tree. Our technical team is rushing around madly trying to fix it, and we'll be back with you as soon as we can.
Well, you'll be glad to know that we didn't crash and roll down that hill, and that is why you lost the signal. We just went into this dip where they're lying. They're inside this dam. It's called Djuma Dam. And so far, I can count 4 baby lions. I think there is more. Let me just have a look here and see what I can see. On the top of the termite mound, I can see nothing. So now, all of a sudden, we are missing 3 cubs. Can't be though, they must be around. 1, 2, 3, there you go. There's 4 cubs lying there and 2 cubs here. So now we're just missing 2 cubs. It's amazing how they get lost actually. They're so camouflaged, even lying here in the open. I know that the mange is making them even more camouflaged than anything. This little one that's closest to us in particular. Look at how swollen his face is from all the scratching. Ugh. To be honest with you, I don't think that this little guy's going to make it. He is just absolutely covered. Anyway, time will tell. If his stars are right, then he'll pull through. If not, he's going to pass on and make space for others. That's just the law of the jungle out here. It's an unfortunate thing. Sad as it is, there can only be so many lions. There is only so much food, and something needs to control these guys. That male is looking absolutely fantastic. He hasn't moved much. He's probably moved about 10 feet the whole day. Rolling around. They've been moving with the shadows around this particular tree and this termite mound. He's now lying in the last little bit of the sun, just enjoying the warmth. The females have all gotten up and moved, and the one female is nursing, I think, or the cub is still scratching himself. I'm not too sure. The rest of the little guys all just playing in that hollow. Not playing really, they're going to start playing. I can't imagine that after an entire day lying, digesting a buffalo, that they've done much with this build-up or reservoir of energy that they have. And they're going to have a lot of energy. My feeling is, as soon as it cools down a little bit more, and I'm not even talking hours here, I'm talking a couple of minutes. Brent Leo Smith has managed to find what I couldn't this morning, and he is with the Inkahumas. I wonder how he got there.
Shh, we're not going to tell Steph how we got here, but we are with all 5 Inkahuma ladies. And of course, where there are Inkahuma ladies, there are quite often Inkahuma cubs. Now, the cubs are not in the best spot for us to view them at the moment, but I'm hoping they are going to come down. And they are looking like they're about to get moving. There's a bit of movement up there, a bit of playing. So maybe they'll come down and see the moms. Now, looking at the Inkahumas, I think they were successful last night. Look at those bellies. They were hungry when we left them at the end of Sunset Safari. Now they are rotund. So I think they probably caught a smallish buffalo, and I think it's all done because there's no kill around here, but there are vultures. So we just obviously didn't find that spot. And I think by morning it was already done. Now, the youngest lioness has managed to lose her tail. The Birmingham boy. So if we start from the far right, there we go. That's one of the mothers. Hello, lady. And then next mother. Rolling over, you can see those engorged nipples and a very fat belly. Next lioness would be the amber-eyed lioness, although we can't see her eyes. And then there's the last mother closest to us, and then the youngest Inkahuma on her back, who's lost her escort. And of course all the cubs seem to be sleeping up high there. So there are the cubs. Let me just let everyone know that I've managed to find them. little ones. There's an interesting question from Caitlin, a new viewer, who would like to know, is it polite to ask a lion whether she is pregnant or just fat? Well, lions go from fat to skinny quite quickly, and I don't think they're too worried about their weight, Caitlin. So they're able to gorge up to about, a big male can gorge up to about 60 pounds of meat in a very short period of time. Now, looking at all these lionesses, they all ate quite well last night. When I left them at about 6 p.m. yesterday evening, they were all very hungry. So they must have... Oh, is that another male coming in, Brian? Or is that a cub gone on a meander? It looked... What is going on there? I saw some movement just to the right of the cubs. Yes, there's a male. Here he comes. That's the escort of the youngest lioness. Oh, Mom is not happy with him alone with the cubs. Off she goes. You stay away from those babies. You're a bit rough, mister. There he is. About to step into the golden light atop a termite mound surrounded by tumbuti trees. Immediately she got up when he was alone with the cubs. She might go check on the cubs. Here we go. Let's go have a look. Call the cubs down. Come play in the drainage line next to us. It's far nicer down here, guys. Oh, she looks a bit more content now. The male's moved off. I can't see where to, but she is heading back up towards the cubs. Now, Kerry, you are spot on. It is such a stark contrast between the sticks and Nkahumas. The sticks have the picture-perfect little cubs, and the other way around. The Nkahumas have picture-perfect little cubs, and the Nkahumas literally are the most beautiful. All the lionesses, there's no bits missing, there's no little bits of mane showing, and of course all these cubs are beautifully, fully furred. Oh, I can hear the cubs starting to make noise shortly. Okay, I just got to be on the Game Drive radio for a second. Tax. Tax, I've got the one Satya and Mampimpan, probably about 100 meters further to the east from where that one was. You might be able to get a vehicle in from the Shkova, from Galago Pan. They're not far from the Pan. Oh, look at that. Copy. Look at that. Isn't that just... So that's one of the youngest. I'm probably about 10 weeks old now. Okay. So the other cubs should be on their way down. Here comes the next one. Our cardinal says the triumphs and tribulations of the wildlife really make Safari Live so compelling. Oh, listen to that. So those are two of the younger cubs. Here comes an older cub. Sorry, I just got to be on the Game Drive channel for a second. Aubrey, were you looking for me? Standing by. Yeah, they all come. Look at this, they're all coming down. So there are 8 cubs in this pride. That was Amber Eyes. Oh, look at that. Oh, it looks like we've just arrived at the most perfect time. Now, another new viewer, Toxigenic, would like to know, at what age do cubs eat meat? They'll start eating meat from about 6 weeks old, but mostly supplemented by mother's milk. Now, lions practice something called... Oh! The little one's complaining. It's been left behind. He's deciding to be an independent little lion. Our beard poses a very interesting question. I wonder why we feel the way we do about cats when their ancestors probably ate our ancestors for many millennia. Now, it's a very different thing, a feeling you get around cats during the day as opposed to at night. So we are still the dominant diurnal predator, so we do feel we have a bit of control during the day. But if you're at night, it's definitely a different feeling. And a lion is a different animal during the day as it is at night. Excuse me. Now, it's a good example of allo suckling happening at the moment. So you will get different litters suckling off a single female, and all the lions will share suckling of all the cubs if they have cubs at the same time. Oh, here comes the independent. Standing by. Just me on 4, but it is quite difficult to get you. Okay, copy. If you want to try, you need to come from Gallagher Pan on that elephant path that heads to the northwest. And then when I hear you, I'll let you know where you must go. Okay, copy. Thanks, Albus. Isn't this just wonderful? You know, I wonder if it's going to join the literal scrum of lion cubs. Here we go. Straight in. One sneeze gave everyone a fright. Charlie is wondering, since the cubs are allocycling, will they necessarily go to their own mother first? Sometimes it actually just depends. Quite often when you've got this many cubs, as soon as they see one cub suckling, then it must be that lioness they want to suckle off. But it does depend. So at the moment there are 3 lionesses that are lactating, but you can see that all the cubs are only feeding off 2 of them. Standing by. Copy. Yeah, if you want to try, you're more than welcome. Look at that. So she got a bit upset, and now remember those cub teeth are probably as sharp as hypodermic needles. Oh. Incoming from above. Look how their ears go flat. Just as if an adult was fighting for its spot on a kill. Sorry guys, I'm just going to try help Elvis get in here. Standing by. If you go past the pan heading north, you go through a little skova, and there's a big elephant path that heads to the west. You head west down that elephant path. If you switch off, I'll start my engine, see if you can hear it. Oh, jeez. Look at that and that too. I'm just going to start my engine so I don't have to make a lot of noise, so Elvis can try to figure out where we are. There we go. Did you get that audio? Isn't this just amazing, guys? Sorry, I'm just trying to help Elvis. He's trying to find us. Elvis, I'm due west of you, but there's a skova to the north. If you can get into the bottom of that skova and then head west, you'll get visual. Okay, well, we're going to sit right here. I'm just going to try help Elvis get in here. So while we do that, let's go see what Steph's up to.
We're still up to sitting here with these Styx lioness, and I must be honest with you, I'd like to contrast the difference between the healthy Nkahuma cubs and these pretty grisly Styx cubs. And the reason for the discrepancy is the Kahuma cubs, they haven't got this mange mite that's infesting them. And I must say, this little cub that we're busy having a look at now, he's half hidden there by his sibling and his mom, but you can just see he's the one with the head on the right-hand side with his back towards us. You can see the top of his ears there are completely hairless and quite scabbed over. And that's because this mange mite causes a little bit of swelling of the skin, and it's just because of all the licking and the scratching and just generally the irritation that goes on with this mange mite. It's not terminal unless it's in an extreme case. Now, this little cub, when he stood up just now, is a bit skinny. I can see his hips coming out. I can see that his bones are starting to stick out. But believe me when I tell you that this isn't bad just yet. There's a very, very good chance that these cubs pull through. They've just finished a buffalo. Mom is busy lactating. These Birmingham Boy Male Coalition are in full control of this territory. There's no one infringing on them whatsoever, and so there's no stress from that particular environment. We have the dry season in full swing at the moment, which is absolutely glorious for lions. As you can see, this male lion hasn't got a care in the world. Have a look at that relaxed place. I even see a little snore coming out from his lips over there. Just have a look at that. Very relaxed. That lioness, since we got here about 20 minutes ago, she hasn't even moved. He hasn't even given us an open eyeball or flicked her hair, an ear. She's been in dreamland the entire time. Now, as many times as I say this, I'm going to say it again, I am absolutely amazed by the fact that with a simple sentence, I can send you 4,000 kilometers away to where Mr. James Hendry has a hyena den he'd love to show you.
What an amazing way to put it, exactly. 4,000 kilometers Steph has sent you onto the back of this vehicle. We're going to have a quick look here at the sunset going down over the quintessential African scene. The odd tree on the horizon silhouetted gorgeously. There's some weather coming in that has turned this incredible sunset. 1,000 shades of pink and ginger and orange and yellow and various other colors that are probably not describable by someone with my humble vocabulary. Now, over there, I know we've all been missing. Come on, Wallington, bring your camera here. I know you've all been missing the hyena den deeply at Djuma. Well, we'll have a look at this one here. And it's a bit of a joy, really, to find a little hyena den. Look, there's a little one with its head out of a tiny little hole. Now it's blurry, but soon it will be in focus. There we are. And Graham, just to the right of that one, it looks like a gopher has just put its head out of the ground. It's now put its head back in. Whoops. There's a little one there. Look. And apparently these hyenas are heavily researched. It's eating something. Now, one of the things I was saying very early today is that the animals here die faster than they can be killed, if you know what I mean. So more animals here probably die of natural causes than they do from predation, which means that for scavengers, especially vultures, there are vultures all over this place during the day, landing on bits and pieces, carcasses and those sorts of things that we don't see. We don't see them dying, you know, and they're killed. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Sorry about that, everybody. Was it off?
Yes, it was, but we're back on.
Oh dear, Graham said it was off. Sorry about that, everyone. I think I sat on my microphone. So, there are vultures and scavengers eating here all day long. And they're not stealing their kills from anyone. These are things that have just died of natural causes. And I think that these hyenas have an almost limitless food supply. This is just too wonderful, isn't it? There's Mum. And there's a hyena researcher. And I think think he does an incredible amount of work, because I think, as Graham said, Graham's watched a talk by, I think, that very fellow in that car there. Some of these hyena dens have been occupied for probably 1,000 years. A 1,000-year-old hyena den, which is quite astounding. And so obviously this is optimal hyena territory and hyena habitat. But this den site here apparently has been continuously occupied for probably almost that long, which is absolutely unbelievable. This will be a small portion of the clan. The clans in this area can reach really very large numbers indeed, and up to sort of 50 or 60 individuals can mass if they want to chase lions, or if they want to try and take something or hunt on their own. They do a lot of hunting in this area. It's not only the scavenging that they do. And I mean, we're just going to pan around now. There's a Thompson's gazelle not too far away. There we go, you've got him there. Hello, Clarissa. You missed the beginning of the show, and you say, where is James? James is in Kenya, believe it or not, and therefore so are you, Clarissa. And we're just trying to find a Thompson's gazelle that I can see, but the camera is failing to find. Clarissa, we're in Kenya. We're broadcasting out of the Mara Triangle, this quite unbelievable piece of land, 510 square kilometers, 350 square miles, part of the greater Mara Serengeti ecosystem of 20,000 square kilometers, which is roughly 1,200, at least 12,000 square miles. And that's where we are. And through the incredible efforts of Peter Braat and the amazing negotiation skills of Graham Wallington, and not, of course, the not too shabby camera work of the latter, here we are in the middle of the Mara Triangle, bringing you some of the most quintessential shots of African wildlife that you'll ever see. And we've seen some new things, Clarissa, today. We've seen hundreds of wildebeest, thousands and thousands of wildebeest. We've seen crocodile try to eat wildebeest out of the Mara River. Those amazing sightings of wildebeest crossing the river that we've seen on documentaries and I've never seen live before. We've seen topi and Thompson's gazelles and lions sitting in trees. We've had an unbelievable time here. And Kat in Tampa, you say that you were born on the wrong continent. Well, Kat, I'm sorry about that. But you know, these days with air flight, you could always move here. And there's rain there, Graham, I think. We're just gonna... There's rain there, everybody. Look at that. There's some wildebeest underneath that tree, and in the background there is rain falling from the sky. Cue Toto soundtrack. Sorry, I missed the last one, Kirsten. What was the last comment we had there? And Vicky, yes, you say it's so different seeing hyenas out in the wide open space as opposed to in our termite mounds. Well, all the animals here, compared with Djuma, of course, they live in the open. This is very much a grassland area, and we know that the woodlands of the Sabi Sand house, a huge diversity of animals, but we don't see them in the same way that we do here. And so this is just a great different kind of African adventure that we're having here. It is in some ways a little more difficult because we can't go off-road, but for maybe very special sightings, and we still try to negotiate our way through that. And so it can be a little bit more difficult, but because you can see so very far, yes, it really is unbelievable. And the sheer volume of animal life here blows my mind completely. And in case, for those of you who have just joined us, like Clarissa, 1.5 million wildebeest come into this area every year. 300 to 500,000 Birchall's zebra, 200,000 Thompson's gazelles, and there are probably any number of others. And those are just wild estimates. Nobody's ever counted them actually. And there's some wildebeest now, just wandering across the plains. They've obviously been separated from the much larger herds, which cover this place like ants. Aaron, you're wondering if we're going to be live again tomorrow. yes, we probably will once or twice. We're not sure when or how or if. We're trying quite desperately to sort out various things here because we've got a very short time. So yes, we hope to do some live stuff tomorrow, absolutely. But we're not going to guarantee anything. You might just be able to hear the wildebeest here going bow, bow. Robin, we're going to be here only until Wednesday. We actually leave here on Tuesday, and then I'll be back at Djuma on Wednesday. And, you know, it's a precursor, we hope, for a longer show, and we're hopefully going to be here for a week in September sometime. At the end of September, we hope. And this great swathe of animal life that has migrated into this area will hopefully still be around. And I think it will just be unbelievable to be here for that length of time. And so hopefully we'll have more of the wildebeest leaping into the water, we'll have more of them streaming across the plains, we'll have more of these hyenas. We're hopefully going to introduce you to the lions of this area, hopefully the cheetah and the serval perhaps. We've had an amazing time with some serval. And the topi and the Thompson's gazelles and the Grant's gazelles and all the other amazing things, and the birds, totally different birds from the ones that we get at home. I think we're probably going to have to hand you over back to South Africa now. Things are getting a bit dark now, so this will be our last segment this evening. Thank you for joining us. It's been unbelievable. Brilliant skill from Mr. Wallington. Thank you, Mr. Wallington. Brilliant skill from Peter Braat, our two chaps in front here. We've got Robert and Kelvin. Robert and Kelvin, wave at the camera. You're on your live television. There they are. They've done a sterling job getting us into the most incredible position to view, of course, that quintessential shot of the wildebeest migration crossing the Great Mara River. We'll see you tomorrow, we hope. Until then, enjoy the rest of your drive with Brent and Steph, and I will be marveling at these unbelievable sights. Bye-bye.
Well, from an unbelievable sight in Kenya to an unbelievable sight here in South Africa, we are mere feet away from the Nkahuma Pride. All 8 cubs are present. Isn't this just spectacular? Oh, the youngest lioness is up, moving straight towards us. She's now probably about 2 feet from us. That log is all that is between Brian and one of the most fearsome predators in Africa. And that's what she thinks of Brian. How rude. Yes, it's supposed to be your day, Brian. So you can see they're a lot less active than they were at this time last night because they've had a nice big meal. So the cubs are still playing, but the lionesses definitely not as active. Oh, Brian, she really likes you. You can see how close she is. Oh, we can smell what she just deposited. Yo! Oh, wow! You sure that buffalo wasn't rotten when you found it last night? Wow. Okay, and I've got a blocked nose. I'm actually quite thankful for it all of a sudden. Yo, sorry, my eyes are watering from that. Wow, Brian, it was even closer to you. And as you can have a look at it there quickly. Well, that is a big one. Well, it seems like because James is in the Mara, the lions have decided that Brian and I are the laxatives. But while we sit here, let's go back to the other lions that aren't quite as pretty.
And yes, these cubs have started to feed again. they're not quite as lethargic as they were a little bit earlier, and that's because the sun is now finally set, as you no doubt would have seen, and it's a little bit cooler, which means that it's a lot easier for these big cats to move around. One of the things that was just the most amazing in the last couple of minutes that we saw here with these lions lying in the darkness here is that because we've been stationary here for so long with nobody around us, that lioness that's on the left-hand side was dreaming, and in her dream she started to roar, and she roared a full roar but muffled, like she couldn't really get it out. It was a mumble, it was a dream murmur, but as a roar. I've never seen it before. VM says he's never experienced it before. It was just something completely different to anything that I've ever, heard that a lion does. I've seen them dream and twitch, run even, like dogs run in their sleep, but never roar in their dream before. There's just something bizarre that happened in the last couple of minutes. What an extraordinary day it has been today. Not only do we have the Styx Pride and the Nkuhumas for once in the same show at the same time, but we also went live from the Mara Triangle all the way from Kenya with Mr. Hendry and got to see a crocodile attacking some wildebeest crossing. And what are the chances that that happens on our debut from there? I mean, it's just insane. A really fantastic day. Ohio Kimberly, you've asked me a question on whether or not lioness are able to feed only their own cubs or they feed everyone's cubs. And it's nice for me to say that lioness feed anybody's cub. So if a lioness is lactating, she will lactate to any cub, or she will nurse any cub from any of her sisters, not necessarily just her own cubs. And this will carry on all the way until those cubs are weaned. So even older cubs that need more milk, here comes the 7th cub. We were wondering where he is. He's just walked off of this termite mound. So now the full 7 cubs are accounted for. He's just busy walking over to his siblings underneath the tree. So just to finish off that point, that even older cubs that require a lot more milk will nurse from a different mom. And that's a profound statement. It means that the lions don't necessarily keep all their milk just for their cubs, and then anything spare they give to other cubs. It's a free-for-all, first-come, first-serve basis. Completely different in hyenas. In hyenas, it's never a first-come, first-serve basis. One mother will look after her cubs and her cubs only, and it depends on her station and her power and her ability to feed her cubs that will determine the success of those cubs or not. There we go, back onto these lions. I don't expect them to actually wake up and get moving until it's full dark. This female has lifted up her head every now and again. I think she's just checking on those other little cubs around. There she submits to those 2 little hungry mouths that are needing every little bit of sustenance that they can get so that their bodies can fight off this infestation. Postcard stuff. Lions in the open. It's funny that they've chosen this dam. You know, initially when I got here this morning, I thought that it was a nice place because of that tree you're seeing over there in the shade of the termite mound. I'm not too sure why they exactly chose this particular place, but I'll never know that question, so it's no use me mulling over what I don't know and we don't really have an answer for. But it's come to that particular part of the day when myself and VM have to sign off and say goodbye. So we just want to say thank you very, very much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your commitment to the product. Thank you very much for all your questions and comments and sending in bits and pieces of information that we can share with you and also to augment my holy mind from time to time. We just want to say goodbye and good luck wherever you are in the world, and you're off to Brent to finish off the show with those beautiful Nkuhumas.
We have literally been surrounded by landmines now. They have deposited large deposits all around the vehicle, behind us, next to us. Fortunately not in front of us yet, but one lioness has come so close to us now. I mean, she's lying about a foot from our front tire. There she is. That's how close she is. Hey. It is amazing how relaxed the Nkuhumas are around our vehicles. They take almost no notice, but of course we are lucky enough to spend as much time as we do with this incredible pride of lions. Oh, bite him. You can see the playing is quite sedate in comparison to what we have seen. Probably full bellies. Oh, that was quite a smackdown. Revenge! Aha! No one managed to get what all the leopards, the killer bees, have seen. Brian, would you like to go with number 1?
Anderson.
And no, that's the one they did get. Okay, Anderson. Number 2.
Shiluva.
Shiluva 2013, not 2005. And then we have recently Tsakani, and last but not least, also recently, Nchila, the tail. So there we go. Those are leopards that only the killer bees have been lucky enough to see on Safari Live. And although we have spent so much time with the Nkuhuma cubs, I never get tired of sitting next to these wonderful little creatures. Oh, got him by the nose. Oh, third in. No. Going to, ooh, stalk. There's an ambush in wait. Not the quickest ambush out there. Well, Valeria in Massachusetts says the killer bees are now members of the Pride. Well, we both do have long manes. Brian has the more impressive mane, but yes, I suppose we are quite lion-like in our appearance. A little bit less battle-scarred than the Birmingham, so. Lion cubs are... Oh, speaking of Birmingham, I heard a Birmingham sneeze. And we can't really see him from where we are. I can just hear him. And we are coming to the last minute of a very pungent sunset safari as we sit surrounded by lion deposits. And isn't it wonderful that we were able to find the Nkuhumas eventually in the bottom of this drainage line. It has been a wonderful Killer Bee Day.
It has been indeed.
And so exciting. Not only was it Killer Bee Day, but the first live broadcast from Kenya. How exciting was that? So from Brian and myself and the Killer Bee Thumb, who is on its way now, it's been absolutely splendid having you with us. And we can't wait to do it all again tomorrow morning. But for the last few seconds, let's look at the wonderful Nkuhumas.